Yo, what's good, my nephews and nieces? This is your favorite uncle, Uncle Demi, and today I have another special banger for you, right? Today we're going to talk about jump shooting and the difficulty in NBA 2K25. But before we get into the video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, as like up the video, push the video to the recommended, and of course subscribe and put your noti game for my daily uploads. But without further ado, let's hop straight into the video. Okay, so first and foremost, what I want to say is that, obviously there's going to be a lot of information that's coming out. If you are interested and want to be up to date, you definitely want to holler at your boy, Uncle Demi, because I will always have even more insight than the average Joe, okay? That's just pretty obvious. So with that being said, let's talk about the shooting mechanics in NBA 2K25, okay? Now, Mike Wang did come out and did a couple of tweets, so I want to talk about that first, all right? So my man, Little Travian, said, Beluba, how much is your three-point rating going to matter this year? Will it be the same as the past, as in you don't need a high three-point shot if you know your timing, okay? Mike responded back, the shooting model is very different this year with shot ratings playing a much larger role. You can compensate to some degree if you're really good with shot timing or rhythm shooting, but most people are going to need higher ratings this year to shoot at last year's clip. Okay, so let's just go ahead and break that down, okay? What he's saying is you do not need a high three ball to be able to be consistently hitting shots if you are somebody that put in a lot of hours in the game. You don't have to be comp, right? You don't have to be a stage player. You don't have to be a pro player. You don't have to be a content creator. If you're somebody that knows your jump shot, and again, we will find bases this season coming up. I mean, this year coming up, there'll be bases that will come up for like low three-ball shots like JT Thor or whatever, and you'll be able to shoot consistently with a mid-70 type three-point shot, right? That's just how it's always going to be, okay? And again, the more casual player, you are going to need a higher rating, but then you're also going to need to set your settings to a different setting than what other competitive players would use. And what settings am I talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked, right? Let's go to this other tweet, all right? My man Yemi said, good morning, Mike. Would love to better understand the shot timing profile concept. With the low risk reward, is that confirming whites to go in, but only when mistimed and wide open, all right? There's Mike's response. With low risk reward, you can still make shots if your timing is slightly off, but the bonus for good timing is much smaller. With high, the green window is larger with a bigger bonus, but there's no margin for error if you miss it, okay? So basically, it's again, you get the high risk, high reward, which basically means like you do not have whites going in, but you have a bigger green window. Those are for the competitive players. Those are for the guys and gals that put a lot of hours into the game. Those are the guys and gals that play stage and, a lot of hours in game, creators, that type of deal. You're still going to want to use the high risk, high reward because you know how to time your jump shot, right? You're going to time your jump shot consistently enough to where you want that bigger green window so you can green consistently. Now, for the individuals that have hard time timing their shot, they have piss poor internet, you don't play a lot, so you kind of play multiple games, you just want to get on 2K and just have a good time, and you don't put a lot of hours in to know your jumper. You're gonna want to go with the low risk or low reward because that's gonna allow you to basically hit whites, okay? You're gonna hit whites. You're gonna be mistiming your shot a lot, and you'll just hit whites, okay? Now you see Mike respond, go ahead, and he basically added on to his first response. He said, if you're terrible at shooting, if you're terrible at shot timing, low will let you be somewhat competent if you take high IQ shots, but will actually handicap you if you're great at shot timing. The better you are at shot timing, the higher risk reward you want to play on. So he just basically reiterated what I just said. But again, this is very important for people to understand that this is always going to be a back and forth battle between the large, extremely large casual community compared to the minuscule competitive community, okay? And again, I want this to be thoroughly understood that basically this is probably gonna be one of the most inclusive games we have ever seen in 2K. When I say inclusive, meaning that this is gonna heavily lean on making sure these casuals can play, right? Making sure casuals are able to get in the game for whatever amount of time they have, and they're actually able to compete with the people that put in a lot of hours. And I know that's always going to be, a frustration. But in my humble opinion, if you're, running with your squad and you're playing against, casuals, you should win 9 out of 10 times. I mean, that just is what it is. Is it going to be 10 out of 10? Probably not, right? Because again, if you're not playing good defense and you leave them open, and even though he don't know how to time his shot, you should see a lot of whites go in. I know when you see a white goes in, there's going to be a frustration there, but understand that individual is very important to 2K. They need these active users. So even though we get frustrated with whites going in 2K's mind is like, listen, those competitive players, we did give them a high risk, high reward. So that means they will be hitting way much more greens. They'll be having, way much more opportunities to win extremely more games. But we also want to make sure when little Timmy gets on the game, he ain't completely getting blown out. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to say either side is right, either side is wrong. All I'm just saying is that from 2K's perspective, one thing that they are definitely going to focus on this year is making sure the casuals are definitely taken care of. Whereas last year, a lot of the community or casuals were complaining about how difficult it was to shoot and all that type of stuff. So now you have this. You have this where you are going to get that low risk, low reward. A lot of individuals are going to use that. I will say this though. He did say within his tweet that I think it was either tweet or in his Discord, where he said that you will not have to worry about real player percentage being used online. So I do not want to hear that. I already seen that on the internet where people were like, oh, that means, these people are going to be taking advantage of the real player percentage and having shots go in. No, real player percentage is not allowed on the online playing. If you're playing offline, you can use the real player percentage, but if you're playing online, you can't, okay? So hopefully this clears it up and this explains to you. You can still be able to shoot consistently if you're a really good player with a mid-tier 70-something 3-ball and kind of work from there. So do not be sitting there getting on the game thinking you're gonna have to have a very high rated build with shooting. Now, keep in mind, you're gonna have to get your badges first. So don't get on the game with a 70-something 3-ball and then you don't have, catch and shoot and corner specialist and all these badges and then be complaining. Have that low 3-ball and just make sure you get your badges, and trust me, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to be A-okay. All right. So keep in mind, man, when the game come out, get your badges first before you start complaining. But anyway, other than that, it's your favorite old head, Uncle Demi. I'll be back really, really soon with the banger, man. When I say back soon with the banger, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about tomorrow, man. I'm out.